Have you heard of technology transfer? It's the process used by our universities and research hospitals to transfer their technological discoveries to the public. On episode 39 of Veteran on the Move, I'm talking with Jim Baxendale, director of Whiteboard to Boardroom, on how you can play a part in the technology transfer process. These organizations are looking for entrepreneurs like you to take their ideas into the marketplace.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneur on Fire, and you're listening to Veteran on the Move with Joe Crane, your pathfinder to freedom. You must be prepared to ignite.
Welcome to Veteran on the Move. If you're a veteran in transition, an entrepreneur wannabe, or someone still stuck in that JOB trying to escape, this podcast is dedicated to your success. And now, your host, Joe Crane.
The top 7 paths to freedom is my free gift to you for listening to the show, featuring 7 great ways for a veteran to take their first step into the exciting world of entrepreneurship. To receive your free gift, go to veteranonthemove.com, or if you're listening on a mobile device, you can text the word veteran to 38470. Jim Baxendale has worked for over 18 years in the field of university technology transfer. Jim is currently serving as director of the Whiteboard to Boardroom commercialization program and assisting the directors of the University of Missouri-Kansas City Innovation Center and Small Business and Technology Development Center to identify game-changing technologies and processes and get them into the hands of big business and talented entrepreneurs, resulting in new products and businesses that stay local and grow. In addition, Jim works to fully integrate university, laboratory, and industry research into the existing entrepreneurial ecosystem and manages a central clearinghouse, whiteboardtoboardroom.com, to catalog innovations and startup company management talent. All right, Jim, thanks for being here on Veteran on the Move with us. And I've given everybody a little bit of an intro on the technology transfer process and a little bit of your background, but if you could tell us a little bit more about your background regarding innovation and commercialization.
Yeah, again, appreciate the opportunity, Joe. Yes, I was with a medical device firm for almost 18 years, and part of what I ended up doing there was inventing new medical devices, new diagnostic kits, new bacteriological culture formulations, and I really enjoyed that innovating, and that was actually inside a corporation, so it was kind of what they call intrapreneurial as opposed to external to a company. So I've always kind of enjoyed doing that sort of thing, kind of research on my own, and then just up until the last 2 years, I was managing all the intellectual property and inventions at the University of Kansas for 16 and a half years. And that was for all the campuses. So that included the medical center, the Lawrence campus, the medical center at Wichita, and as well as the Edwards campus out in Overland Park. So as you can imagine, the coming out of the university is just about any type of innovation you might come across. We had information technology and telecommunications, physics, engineering, medical devices, drug development, just about anything you could think of that, is being researched at a university. So again, for 16 and a half years, managed all of that. This included patents and copyrights and trademarks, licensing, forming startup companies. So I've just continued to do much of that here at the University of Missouri, Kansas City Innovation Center on a bi-state program, the Whiteboard to Boardroom program.
Okay, so you're specifically working a lot with stuff that goes on in the Kansas and Missouri areas across that border there, which this is a process that takes place all across the United States with all of our universities. And if you haven't heard of this process, known as technology transfer, and I'm sure there's a lot of the listeners that had not heard of it. I mean, I guess I was aware this was going on, but I didn't realize there was this kind of a formalized transfer process. So what exactly goes on in the university transfer process?
Yes, these inventions are discovered, of course, for the most part by the faculty. They disclose those inventions to the Technology Transfer Office, and that's what they're called within the university. The Tech Transfer Office then decides, is there at least look to be some value in taking this forward? If that's the case, then they have to look at what type of what they call intellectual property protection do they need to put around this. And again, that's a patent, a copyright, could be a trademark in some cases. And then at that point, once that is filed for, applications are made, then they kind of do a marketing process, and it's not too formal. Frankly, much of it is putting it up on a tech transfer website that it's open to the public to view. And in some cases, they may send out emails with a non-confidential summary of the technology. They don't want to give any of the secrets away of how something is made, has been developed, that's contained in the patent. They are open to be licensed by the public, either as a startup opportunity or established companies of any size can approach the university and say, I saw this on your technology transfer website, and I have an interest in licensing it into my company, or I'd like to form a startup around that technology.
Okay, so you're currently director of the Whiteboard to Boardroom program. Can you explain what that is and how it fits in with the whole tech transfer process?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's pretty broad. We now have 21 partners, as we call them, across Kansas and Missouri. And this includes the major universities in Kansas and Missouri, some of the smaller ones, even some of the private universities, such as William Jewell College, Rockhurst University. We also have the Kansas City University of Medicine and Biosciences. We have some more corporate types like MRI Global. We're starting to explore some of the innovations that are coming out of Honeywell out south here of Kansas City. So we're pretty excited about that. We have Children's Mercy Hospital. We have St. Luke's Hospital involved with our program. So essentially, it's what I'm doing, Joe, is interacting with in the cases where they have a tech transfer operation, we are working with that tech transfer operation to make the inventions known that are at these institutions to the public, whether those be entrepreneurs, again, or established companies, again, of most any size. So we're trying to bring talent and technology together. So we're kind of aggressively trying to bring the eyes of the public to the technologies that exist at these 21 different institutions, rather than the institution just kind of putting it on their site and hoping someone sees it, or kind of sending out blind emails to corporations hoping that someone will see a need for it. So again, we've been called matchmakers, connectors, those types of things.
I think it was Guy Kiyosaki, who used to work at Apple, had said that ideas are a dime a dozen, and there's thousands of great ideas out there. What's really important is taking action on those ideas. So if somebody's out there listening to this and they really want to become an entrepreneur, they want to find something to rally around, an idea or a product, but they can't come up with that idea, then the tech transfer process can basically lay something out there on their plate and they can take a look at it and go with it. So what you're saying is, when we were talking earlier, most of these universities produce probably 100 or more great ideas or somewhat already, cooked products that have already been somewhat developed. And they're just trying to push them out into the marketplace, but that's not what universities do. They don't take products to market. They just do research and invent stuff. And so,
Correct.
so you got these universities that have all these great ideas that they would love to put out into the marketplace because there is a financial incentive for them, and also, somewhat of a bragging rights type thing, if you will, about some of their products going out into the marketplace, which could also help secure future government funding for future research and development projects. And there's all these ideas that they're basically wanting somebody to take and run with. And I was surprised to learn that there's all these, and we're just talking, I just wanted to clarify this. We're talking mostly in the Kansas, Missouri area, or the greater metro area of Kansas City, or the Midwest area, because that's where most of these universities are located. But this also takes place all across the country. So if you're in a different part of the country, you might want to look something up in your region or whatever. But a lot of the people listening on Veteran on the Move are listening in various parts of the world. Got a veteran audience, so they're stationed in all different places around the world. But this tech transfer process exists everywhere, and depending on you go look for your idea that you're interested in and try to find it. So I'm real curious what the Whiteboard to Boardroom is specifically interested in seeking out veterans, transitioning veterans that are interested in getting into this entrepreneurial tech transfer process is all about.
Yes. Well, we've been working to identify various entrepreneurs that would be interested in, starting companies around the various technologies that we have. And as everyone knows, not everyone is entrepreneurial. They're not anxious to take the risk, and oftentimes it takes some money out of their own pocket to get a company started. That's typical of most entrepreneurs, or they go to their family or friends to get some initial capital. So we're looking at post-grad students. We're looking at entrepreneurs who have had a successful exit. We are, as I say, looking at transitioning veterans who may be entrepreneurial, have some technical background in an area that maybe they're passionate about, that they would like to start their own company, kind of control their own destiny. So it's kind of another kind of subgroup of talent that we don't want to overlook, and we realize that these veterans have a tremendous loyalty. They have a great work ethic. They have a certain amount of skilled training, almost project management in some cases, some technical backgrounds that could be of value that they may want to apply to their own company. And so we're just kind of looking for that group that would be interested in looking at the technology and seeing if it's a fit for what they're wanting to do, if it's at the stage of development that they feel comfortable taking it on and forming a company, or again, if the veteran has an established company, doesn't matter what size, that they maybe need a new product for their product line, or let's say the technology they formed their company around isn't quite going as well as they'd hoped, but they're saying, well, I still love this, having my own company, being an entrepreneur. Maybe we have a technology that they could fit into their company and continue to go. So there's just various ways to do this, but I think many of them would be great candidates to get involved with this.
So what's the next step for that transitioning veteran that is interested in doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, and whether it's looking at we have a Whiteboard to Boardroom website. It's whiteboardtoboardroom.com, and that, when I say 2, it's the number 2, but I think if you put TO, it's still, I think it carries over to the Whiteboard to Boardroom site. But there you'll see the ideas that are available from the various institutions. We also have ideas posted there from entrepreneurs that we work with, who maybe just have a technology and haven't formed a company. Or in some cases, Joe, we have kind of early stage companies, probably pre-launch, that need a business person to come in and serve that business purpose to actually market and take the technology out to the customer. Because many of these young startups will have a technical person who have kind of carried it through proof of concept to the point at which it looks like the product has legs. And then they're saying, well, I'm not sure I have the business skills to go to the next level and get this out to the market. So there's kind of several different ways that they could come into this. And then with Whiteboard to Boardroom, Joe, what we do is if a military veteran or someone out in the public finds a technology, then we help them kind of facilitate the process between the tech transfer office and themselves on kind of working through that to see if they can't get a license in place and get the company formed and move on down the road.
So what exactly does the process of licensing a technology from one of these universities look like?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that all the universities want to have a good feeling about who is licensing this intellectual property. So regardless of whether it's a military veteran or someone from the public coming in, they want to have a good feel that the entrepreneur has thought through this, probably written up at least a draft business plan on what they might want to do with this, so it can be reviewed and say, well, yeah, you've got a pretty good handle on what it's going to take to get this to market. Sometimes that can be more of a simpler commercialization plan. But again, this is generally, these technologies have been funded by the government. And let's say it's National Institute of Health. They actually require that the university put due diligence terms in a license that say that, maybe you're going to raise money by a certain point in time. You'll be to the market in a certain point in time. Maybe you'll have sales of a certain thing. And these are all typical in license agreements, and they're called due diligence or performance milestones. So anytime you're doing a license around a technology, you'll expect those to be in there, because it's only fair that, if someone, the biggest fear of the government is that an entrepreneur would take a technology that NIH sponsored and put it on the shelf because it's competing with the product they already have. And this goes for established companies as well. So NIH says, we don't want that to happen. We've supported this research. So you put diligence terms in that license that kind of, keep everything in place and people know what need to be done, or the technology can be brought back. So that's some of that. And then, Joe, there are financial terms that go along with a license, any license, of course. Oftentimes there may be a signing fee, and if I were to just say, and it'll vary across the U.S. or across the world, frankly, with any university, it could be zero because the university is looking for just let's say a 5 to 10% equity position and not upfront cash. Or they could say, well, we want a smaller equity and we want $2,000, or maybe we want $5,000. And in some cases, maybe they just don't want any equity at all. So the deals will vary with the technology and what's gone into them, the amount of research and that sort of thing. And then there's a royalty, as with any license. That'll vary again with the technology. It could be anywhere, let's just say 3 to 7%, depending on the technology and the market opportunity. So those are usually the major things, the equity position, the royalty position, and then some kind of plan that makes the tech transfer office feel pretty good that you're the best partner.
Now, I mean, you mentioned the equity and the royalties, which aren't really that expensive. I suppose if a company grew to be worth millions and millions of dollars, it would amount to a lot. But
right.
As far as the cost of entry is concerned, most of these things are really pretty cheap to get in on, right?
I would say, for the most part, yes. Again, it'll vary with the various offices and what the technology is, and if it's if it's the next Google or something. But again, you just need to work closely with them. And again, if you can impress upon the tech transfer office that you're the best partner to take this forward, then why wouldn't they do it? And do it at a reasonable cost. The other thing I almost forgot to mention, which is very key, Joe, is if it's a patent pending technology where the university has filed a patent, the licensee, the entrepreneur or company who licenses the technology in, is responsible going forward for patent costs. And of course, those can vary depending on the stage of development. But I would just ask the tech transfer office up front, what stage is the patent filing in, and when are certain activities going to happen? We have what you call converting a patent from a provisional to a full patent, which that conversion can be $12,000 or $15,000. So if that's not going to happen for 6 months or 12 months, that's one thing. But if it's going to happen in the next 3 months, then that makes a difference on, what kind of funding am I going to need pretty quickly here after I license this technology. So that's probably the more kind of the biggest cost that could pop up, again, depending on the stage of the patent application.
Mm-hmm. Now, why are you going out of your way to specifically target veterans for this process?
Well, I've done a lot of networking with various military veterans and kind of bouncing this idea off of them. And I'm still pretty encouraged that, with as I say, the training and what all of you have been through, yourself obviously included, that could make good entrepreneurial candidates, those that feel comfortable doing it, to take on technologies like these and form a startup and work through that product development. I just think it seems to me like it would be a win-win. It would give new opportunities to these transitioning veterans, as well as get some of these technologies placed. And again, there are and we didn't talk about it too much earlier, but this is worldwide. So whether you're looking at a university in London or somewhere in India, they're all doing tech transfer. So there's a lot of technology to choose from, and all has different market opportunities or lack thereof, or stage of development, or remaining work that needs to be done. But if it's a technology area that you're comfortable in, then you're expected that you would do your own due diligence to analyze the risk and the market opportunity and the cost. So that's just kind of part of doing business. So I just feel that this is probably a win-win. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, I'm reminded of the term we use a lot in the military, which I'm sure you've heard of, is don't reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of veterans out there. I've been in this boat myself, where you think you have to come up with the idea for the product or service to start that business. You think you have to be the jack of all trades and do it all in the beginning, when the fact is, you look at a program like this, where not only do you not have to be a jack of all trades, you don't have to be an expert in all areas, you don't even have to come up with the idea. There's plenty of baked ideas out there already that are people are just begging you to take them and run with them. And something like the Whiteboard to Boardroom, not only is it going to help facilitate that process, but it's going to help you get started and get going. And then, can you touch on some of the funding potential that might be available to some of the veterans out there?
That's the other thing I didn't talk about. Part of our program is that even if you have a technology, or once you have one, maybe you didn't even pick one from Kansas and Missouri, but you have a technology and you're in our region, we still have a portal that you'll see on our website where you can come through there. And if you're looking for maybe a CEO, a partner, you're looking for a strategic partner, maybe an industry type partner, prototyping needs, or maybe capital, we try to assist you in finding that. So we're not just dealing with raw technologies, but also kind of the early stage companies or early stage technologies that still need help with maturing them. So we try to have a pretty good handle on the angel funding groups, what's called the SBIR, STTR government grants, which are pretty interesting for small business, and SBIR phase 1 could be up to $100,000, and phase 2, I think, is approaching close to $1 million. And then we have some other networks that we know of that I still look at technology, but they're maybe not as well known. So, and then when you get to the coast, obviously you have a lot of VC funding, and that varies throughout the U.S. For some of the later stage development. So we try to, again, we're just trying to get innovations placed and make connections, and hopefully get some of these technologies that deserve to go to market get to market.
Well, that's great. So specifically with what we're talking about here today, if you're in the Midwest or in the Kansas City region, or you're looking to come here's a program just waiting for your skills and expertise. So, Jim, I'll give you the last word as we're getting close to the end of our time here. Any final advice or recommendations for veterans looking to transition into entrepreneurship out there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of resources out there. The one I didn't mention, we have a group called KC SourceLink that has a lot of resources for veterans. They also have another program called US SourceLink, and that's ussourcelink.com or kcsourcelink.com. Tremendous, and we partner with them as well. They have a lot of resources for veterans that might be helpful in terms of entrepreneurship. And one thing about technology, real quick, let's say you were kind of in the computer big data space or networking, and you went to one of the regional universities here, and you really didn't see anything, or you saw a technology that really wasn't fully developed. Don't stop there. Go to look at another university for the same type of technology. There's all types of technology out there, all different stages of development and market opportunity. And you may have to kind of keep searching around a little bit, but again, look at the various universities around the U.S. if you need to, or at MIT or Columbia or Stanford, and see what they have. So don't stop there if you're still looking for technology.
All right, Jim. Well, thanks for sharing the technology transfer process with us. And I have to admit, I did not know that there was a formalized process like tech transfer going on until I met with you a week or so ago. I mean, it may sound crazy to you because you've worked in that environment, but I'm sure there's a lot of other veterans out there that did not realize this process, this opportunity exists. I mean, there's basically, you've got universities churning out ideas and they're looking for somebody to do something with them. So there you go. If you've got the goals and desires, but you're still looking for that idea, this may be a way for you to find your idea and form a business around it. So you mentioned the Whiteboard to Boardroom.com website.
Right.
And is that the best place for people to get a hold of you and how to make contact with you if they're interested in doing something with this?
Yeah, there's actually we have a tech alert form on there that can even fill out, and it emails to us. And when technologies come up in that space, we email them to them. But it has a contact us. It has actually my email there and phone number. So.
All right, that sounds great. And if anybody wants to send me anything or have me pass your information along, I can do the same too. If they can always find me on veteranonthemove.com. Well, Jim, thanks for being here today, and loved hearing about the technology transfer. I've already been on the Whiteboard to Boardroom website and looking at some of the ideas that are out there. It's really fascinating, the amount of great stuff coming out of these schools.
Yeah, very good. I appreciate that.
All right, Jim. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Veteran on the Move, your pathfinder to freedom. If you like the show, leave us a review on iTunes. Reviews are always greatly appreciated. So until next time, this veteran is Oscar Mike.